Coach, thanks as always for joining us on the call. If we just get your thoughts on the win at Houston, maybe a few words about Javon's performance, back-to-back Defensive Players of the Week for you, and then what you expect to see on Saturday as you're back at home against Tulsa, please.
It was our first real time going on the road. I mean, we'd, been on bus rides in some close proximities, so it was new for us to load up and change up our schedule a little bit, and to go on the road in conference to get a win is the most important thing. We were challenged. I mean, it was a different Houston team than maybe some people had thought, and switching in 3 quarterbacks and had some guys that had redshirted, but they still got a lot of talent, and they played hard and they played well. And we were challenged. We started off fast and then kind of lost the momentum of things and really went back and forth, and it was a lot closer game than maybe it ended up being. But I think it was great for us to be challenged like that so many different ways, both offensively, defensively, and in the special teams. Every unit had to come up big someplace down the stretch because that game was a battle. Javon was one of those guys that, came up big for us, obviously having an interception, a fumble recovery, got beat on an early play on a deep ball for a touchdown that sometimes as a young guy people don't recover from. And that's what I'm most proud of Javon and his performance, is his ability to overcome that, not let it kind of crush him, not let it get him down, but continue to play, continue to battle, continue to have incredible effort. And when you do, great things happen. The ball finds him. He finds the ball, and ultimately you got out there with a win, and have the ability to move on now to a new challenge, and coming home here and then having a bye week the following week. We got to make sure we can really stay focused and have the attention to detail for this week, because it's going to be a unique challenge for us.
Okay, questions for Coach Luke Fickell, please. *1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue. Then the operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Jason Stamm with Rivals.com.
Hey, Coach. I know you were talking about Javon and obviously his Player of the Year award or honor this week, but just that whole defense. I know there's obviously I know a lot more to it than just Javon. So what, in your mind, have you been most impressed with that defense, and where do you feel like it is overall as a unit?
Well, I think it starts up front, and our ability for those guys to, play well up front, be aggressive, to create some havoc. I think we only ended up with 1 sack, but in our stats, we kind of come up with 22 havoc plays, which, is where those guys up front affect something in a different way to really give us an opportunity in the back end, whether that's on the pass, whether that's on the run. So I think it starts up there, and those guys' ability to roll. I mean, we're playing 9 guys up there in a lot of situations, and sometimes, guys want to play more. And in the long run, the reality is that we've, kind of started this philosophy in camp that we really knew we were going to need a bunch of different guys to play well, so that we could play at the pace we wanted to and with the effort we wanted to. So those guys' ability to kind of put the egos aside and not worry as much about the stats, because maybe they only play 35, 40 plays, but we've got 8 or 9 guys that are playing that many.
And you mentioned just being on the road, kind of changing up routine. I don't know if it did or didn't, but I was curious. Did you learn anything about your team having that kind of change, I guess, that from what you'd been doing the rest of the season?
Well, I don't know if we learned. I mean, I think you learn the most throughout the game, and that's when you're challenged like that. And if you didn't watch and see the whole game, then you might not have said, "Well, it must not have been as much of a challenge." It was. We never lost the lead. But the lead was in jeopardy probably 4 or 5 times, and each time we had to answer. Our offense had to answer 2 times where we needed a score, and we, maybe had given up a couple of things defensively. We had an opportunity where we had to have a field goal and some big kickoffs from our special teams and punts as well. And then there was probably 4 or 5 situations in the game where defensively they had to have it situations, and in 2 of those we got turnovers, and the other 2 we made stops.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, as you look ahead to the game against Tulsa, do you see any similarities between the 2 teams in terms of your approach to the game? I mean, both appear to be pretty solid on defense, steady at quarterback, and with the skill position players that can really help make you go. Is it appropriate to say that these are two like-minded teams in terms of how they approach the game?
I don't know if I'd say. I mean, yeah, of course they play physical, they play tough. I think two very good head coaches, so they've got programs. They don't just have teams that are one and done or are flash in the pan. So obviously they've done it for a long time. I think uniquely sometimes different. Last week we didn't know maybe what to expect when game day started with the quarterback situation and their ability to have a week off. We saw a lot of different things, not as much hurry up and tempo as maybe we would have expected from Coach Holgerson and their offensive plan. This week I think that we probably see a bit more of it. I think they'll do a lot of things to continue to spread the field, but I don't know if I would say it's very similar. Defensively, they'll be a bit different from probably more of a 4-man front to a 3-man front. So I think as a whole in the program there's a lot of similarities, but I think offensively and defensively there's some unique differences.
Great. Do we have any other questions for Coach Luke Fickell? Please star 1 on your telephone keypad if so. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to hearing from you once again next Monday. All right.